공감이라는 주제로 Love Global 이어가고 있습니다. 마지막 연사분 무대로 모실게요. 미디어를 통해서 건강한 도시 문화, 도시 공동체 만들기를 이야기해 주실 분이고요. 영화 제작자, 파리 주댐, 뉴욕 I Love You의 제작자이십니다. Emmanuel Benbihy님 무대로 모시겠습니다. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome him with a warm round of applause. Filmmaker Emmanuel Benbihy.
Hello. Hello, can you hear me? Yes. Hello, everybody. My name is Emmanuel. I am a film producer. I was before becoming a social entrepreneur. And what I do, the mission of my organization and the network of foundations that we have around the world is to spread love in cities and for cities. So, of course, what we do is building the community of the people who love a city. And the question of my trip, of course, is whether we can build or not the community of the people we love, Cheongjo. This is the kind of movies that I was watching when I grew up. There was a much wider choice of films covering all sorts of human emotions. They were a window on other cultures. You could learn, you could be inspired, you could do all sorts of things. And this variety of topics has severely, drastically decreased. And today, it's very difficult to watch movies that are truly connected to our lives. When, of course, we're lucky, because most of the time we watch very stupid movies. This is a franchise that I created. It's called Cities of Love. And it's a format. We invite multiple directors from all over the world in one city. And in one movie, they tell us love stories taking place in the different neighborhood of that city. We did it in Paris first, because this is where I'm from. And in Paris, we invited 20 directors. And each of them told a 5 to 7 minute love story, and then we put everything together. We built unity with diversity, and this is one of our big things, because we know people like to watch one whole movie and not little pieces. And of course, this movie took 6 years to produce. That was like 17 years ago, and it ended up opening the Cannes Film Festival. I was very lucky, and it was distributed in 70 countries, which started the whole series. So I was able to keep going, and I went to another city where I also grew up, New York. And in that city, we just had a different approach. We worked with less directors, about 10, and we built better the whole unity of the film. And we worked also with young directors. It was the first time for Natalie Portman and Scarlett Johansson to direct a short film. It was the first international film of Bradley Cooper. So we love to work with new talent, which is, of course, always a challenge. They were new talent at the time. So then I was approached by producers all around the world who came to me and told me that they wanted to produce their City I Love You movie. And of course, I cannot produce it for them. So what I did is that I consigned everything I learned into a production guideline, and I started to sell licenses and to sell that know-how to all these producers. And one of the first license that we produced is Rio. So I didn't really produce Rio. It was produced by my partners in Brazil. And because I was not busy producing the movie, I decided to market the movie differently because this format is very different. It cannot just be distributed like any movies. You cannot put a movie that is sophisticated, that is a little bit more, sensitive, that shows a different reality, a more versatile, more complex reality. It cannot go through the typical commercial pipes way of distribution. First, distributors would not let you do that. So the game is already played. You cannot show any movie you want today. It's already played. So what I did is that I basically built a website 3-4 years before the release of the movie, and I started building the community of the people who love Rio. What did we do? We did all sorts of actions, activations, events, content that would put the spotlight on everything that is positive in the city. We are strictly positive, and that would empower people, make them proud, because the first step towards change is definitely having people who are ready for change, who are optimistic, who are in a good mood, in high spirits. You don't ask people who struggle, who suffer, who are afraid to make change. So this is what we did. And this is, for example, we did hundreds and hundreds of action and activation, but this is an example. In Rio, at the extremities of the beaches, you have these gym stations, and that's how I found them 5-6 years ago, and they were very far, but very popular. So one of the things we did is that we found a sponsor who actually financed new gym stations. We did a creative contest. We involved a lot of people for the design, for the communication of this campaign. And we actually created new gym stations every 400 meters on all the beaches of Rio. It was a very simple way for us to introduce ourselves. This is what we do, we look at what a city needs, and each city is different, and we try to contribute, and we try to involve brands who want to contribute, and of course, we never show these brands' product. We only gather partners who just want to contribute to make our life better in that city. So that's just an example. If you want more example, you can attend the presentation that I will do tomorrow, and I will show lots of videos and content, because I'm not about just talking and doing stuff. We definitely shoot everything, we document it, and we have a lot of images to show. So unfortunately today, media has very specific logics, mostly negative. We are exposed to a lot of negative content because it is more easy to get our attention if the message is negative. People play with our fear most of the time, and that's unfortunate, to sell us something. The logics behind this would not be so bad if we were not exposed to it for years and years and years, and if some of our children had not evolved and developed in that environment, because some of them managed to stay strong and to figure it out and to rebel and to do what they want, but most of them feel depressed, feel it's impossible, feel nothing is expecting them, feel lonely, and so on. So we have to be very careful about the content we are exposed to, and each of us as an individual, we have to be careful about, when you hear about a really cool series you have to watch, you'd better try to figure out what the message of that series is before you spend 20 hours in front of it, because it's going to affect you. So anyway, what happened in Rio? Well, in Rio, that platform, in a city of 6.5 million people with an agglomeration of 12 million, we managed to have on that website, on that platform, about 4 million visits per month. And some of our videos were seen by 6 million people locally every month. So who were these people? Well, we call them active followers because they share, they comment, they do a lot of things. Well, we were very surprised to realize that 75% of them were below 24 years old. And we are talking about topics that are not always considered to be very entertaining. We talk about urban farming, we talk about social commitment, social harmony. We talk about all sort of topics that are not supposed to appear, that you will never see in a movie theater, you know, because they're supposedly not fun. Well, that's not true. Any topic can be fun, inspiring, interesting. It all depends on how it's portrayed. And this big rise, this big community allowed us to raise in 1 year about $8 million. And that these $8 million actually allowed me to self-finance the movie Rio, I Love You. So what really happened is that we can engage people. We can engage people if we expose them, if we put them in the right mood, in the right mode. If our media environments are more positive, we can engage people towards sustainable development because we are very disconnected. We are disconnected with our local culture. We are disconnected with others. We are disconnected with nature. And most importantly, we don't have the feeling of walking together towards a better future. We pretty much feel quite lonely. And how can you feel lonely when you live in a city of multiple million people? This doesn't make sense. So what we discovered, in fact, in the way to engage people towards sustainable development and what we call bottom up. Because so far today, most of the things we hear today to make change in this world are top down. We legislate, we moralize, we educate. These things take time. It takes time, it's long to make these changes. The only change that everybody wants to see is us changing. So building communities that you can engage naturally towards sustainability because they just feel good and they want to do it and they love their city. This is what we put our finger on. And it was really fascinating. So just to finish, I would like to say that all our ecosystem, all our initiatives in various cities around the world are funded and built around a core that is non-profit. So if one day we build a Cheongju I Love You initiative, we will set up a Cities of Love Foundation in Korea that will not only develop Cheongju I Love You, but Seoul, Busan, and many other cities. This is not just about one city. And of course, in that ecosystem, we work with tons of service providers. Like me, I'm just a service provider. I'm never in this foundation. I prefer to produce content for these foundations. And this is our network around the world. This is what we're building at different levels. We work, some people are starting, but it takes about 2 years to develop an initiative like that and to see it pop up in the public space. So that's why I'm here today. I hope, you know, some people among you will feel inspired, and all we need is to find just a few people who are willing to start developing that initiative, to start finding the right leader, what we call a city manager, and then we'll go from there and we'll build. Thank you very much.
네, 여러분 다시 한번 임마누엘 벤비히 감독님께 큰 박수 부탁드립니다.